This is Mandy Schimmelpfennig, and I am the author of the historical fantasy novel The Rise of Riverstone. It is book 1 in my series called The Daughters of Riverstone, following the family of women who are determined to control their own fates. Book 2 I am planning to have out next year, and I really hope this video comes out before then because I've been having a lot of delays in actually doing these. So wouldn't that be amazing if when you actually see this, book 2 is due to come out. This is chapter 7, and this is an exciting topic for me, not only because I'm a huge animal lover, but because this type of animal in particular I find very fascinating. We are talking about falconry. Hundreds of years ago, when I was in college, I actually had the pleasure of working with birds of prey at the school that I went to. I was in the Raptor Club, and we did presentations, and we learned all about these birds, and let me tell you, they are fantastic. And I wish that I actually had one just hanging out with me, but alas, I do not. The earliest accounts of falconry date back to 2000 BC in Mesopotamia. Most likely, falconry was introduced to medieval Europe by the Huns in 400 AD. Now, it's a very popular sport in those times, but it was also a status symbol of the nobility in medieval Europe and the Middle East, as well as the Mongolian Empire. However, nomadic tribes, it was more than just status. Obviously, they used their birds to help them hunt small game, like birds and rabbits. Now, the types of birds used in falconry varies. It's not just falcons, gyr falcons, it's also hawks, goshawks, sparrowhawks. In my novel, The Rise of Riverstone, eagles play a very huge role. They are carried by knights and nobles into battle, and they put on demonstrations, that sort of thing, but it's also highly tied to class and status symbol. Falcons generally are carried by women. Historically, the peregrine falcon was a popular choice for women because they're lighter. Also, they look really freaking cool and can dive at speeds of 200 miles per hour. Chew that off, you noble men of medieval Europe. And there's a lot of equipment involved in having a bird of prey. Not just the giant gloves, which are called gauntlets. They go from like their tips of their fingers all the way back to their elbow, and they're very, very thick leather, and that's what the bird would perch on. Now, you had to protect yourself because, I mean, think of like an eagle, their claws are like this big, but even in a little hawk, they're very, very sharp. Now, some of these birds are also very strong, so you had to protect yourself. Hoods went over their head, that kind of blocked out sights and sounds for the birds to kind of help keep them calm when they weren't hunting. A bell could be attached to the bird's legs. That helps their handler hear them when they're a long distance away from them, especially when they're tracking many miles ahead of you. Jesses, so these are kind of like leashes. They're attached to the bird's legs. They're little pieces of leather cord with an eyelet on the end, and you would attach a leash to that, and that's what would tether you to the bird while they're perched on your arm. And obviously you would let it off when they're ready to go. The birds are housed in what's called mews, and they're basically tiny houses. They're usually little buildings, and you put straw on the bottom. There's perches in them. They stay warm in there. They usually get fed in there, and it's where they stay when they're not out hunting or out in a yard, which is where the birds will be at when they're sunning themselves, and they'll be perched out in the yard as well. All of these things are very important to the book, The Rise of Riverstone. I do reference quite a few of the equipment. Obviously, I talk about the mews a lot because Laria gets to get up close and personal cleaning those things. It's not only important to the integrity of the story, but it's also important to the people of Ilano. And these are the people that invade Pred, where Laria lives. And it kind of serves to humanize them a little bit, because birds are not just about status, and they're not just about hunting and putting on displays. It's a deep, deep bond between them, which I go into in the book. So consider in your novel, does your character have a familiar? Does it have a favorite pet? Is their culture you know, focusing on a specific animal? Does it drive their culture? And it adds a little bit of dynamic to your story, but also it's really fun to research, especially if you're already kind of a nerd about it anyway. You can find The Rise of Riverstone on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Powell's, IndieBound, anywhere books are sold. But if you order from riverstonesaga.com, you will receive a paperback signed with some additional swag. Thank you. I hope to see you next time. I almost said AmazonSaga.com earlier. You can find The Rise of Riverstone on Amazon Saga.